Coming up on the Crazy Jamaican Bwoy Podcast.
That is so controversial. The question, yeah? Jamaicans, we have a conflict resolution issue. A lot of us, we have traumas that we're not dealing with, and unfortunately it gets filtered over into the public spaces, and so we don't know how to properly resolve a conflict. I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't know my dad. So even around those times I was battling with that issue. I was wondering, why did he leave? You know, if you're living abroad, why is it that you decided not to take care of me? I'm a really good child. I'm doing well. So why is it that you wouldn't want to be in my life? So I've battled the self-worth issues, the self-esteem issues.
Mic check. You don't know, this is your boy Anthony, back again with another episode of the Crazy Jamaican Bwoy Podcast. Alright guys, you know the drill. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share this. Make sure you leave a comment. And if you haven't as yet, make sure you subscribe. Alright? If you're streaming this on Spotify or Apple, you don't know any need for do. Alright? Leave a review. Alright? Leave a review and share it. Share it all over the place. Give me a little strength. Alright? Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, I'm here with a very special guest. You don't know. We go way back, guys. I'm not tired for me always, I say. We go way back. But that's true, guys. I'm not telling a lie, man. A long time I know that girl here, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Way back.
Yeah, and I definitely invited her on the podcast because I really do think that there is a really good story there, guys, that can really, you know, inspire others. Because although I love to say me and the careless, messy podcast, sometimes I like to bring a little inspiration to the youths, you know. Alright? So this girl is literally one of the most amazing persons you guys will ever meet. I'm blessed to call her a friend, the one and only Sasha. Hey Sasha.
Hey Anthony, thank you so much for having me here, and hello Jamaica. Remember to like, share, subscribe, give my friend a strength and a strength and a strength, because you know we're all trying youths. But Anthony, thank you for having me. It's really and truly a pleasure. So I'm ready to answer all your questions. Once there are questions I can answer on air, I'll answer them.
Alright guys, alright. You see how she nice, guys? I like me there tell. You see how she nice? Alright, Sasha. Alright, but before we get into it,
yes.
Alright, just give me like a quick 30-second introduction, you know, to the viewers them.
So I am Sasha Williams. I go by the moniker Sasha Speaks. So if you should type that in your search bar in social media, you will find me, and you will definitely find me speaking, as the name suggests. So overall, I am a public speaker. I naturally work in the youth development space. I'm very passionate about policy development and just developmental issues on a whole. I believe our country, you know, we have a lot of talents, both the children or youths and our adults, that it requires a lot of nurturing. And so what I do, I don't just focus on youths, but I focus on everyone and the holistic development. Fortunately for me, I'm the eldest of 9 children, so I have younger siblings who are looking onto me to actually show them that, listen, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, it's actually about where you're going, rather, as cliche as that sounds. So overall, I'm a vibrant person, and I'm also an introvert. They probably not believe that, Anthony, but for those of you who know that I most times I'm in my shell, other than the times when I have to be out of my shell.
And I think a lot of people, they might look on your socials, right? And they might see all of your accomplishments and what you've done, and they say like, wow, this girl really, you know, has it together. She's so well put together. She's inspiring, right? I want to be like her. Listen, people, sometimes you can just look on people and just be like, okay, that person had it easy. Like them it just did billion in one day.
Right.
It took time, right?
A lot of time and a lot of hard work. And as you said that, remember I was telling you before the interview that we go way back, because you remember the time that you had the skit. I think you were the guidance counselor, and I was, I think, one of the patients with some mental health. I think at that time it was some mental health.
Let me tell you, you don't remember it good enough. But guys, alright, so what Sasha is just brought up, she was actually in an episode of Crazy Jamaican Bwoy. We had shot that episode in quarantine.
Yes.
You sent in your part. You were like the therapist.
Oh.
And I was the person that committed a crime. and she was someone I was supposed to like, talk to and whatever view and thing, because she have a nice voice. Sasha, you have a nice voice, and it's a very kind of, it's very calming. Someone say, all right, she'd definitely fit the role and whatever. But we could just get back to the meat of the matter now. So, can you tell us a bit more about, like, your background, like,
Sure. So that's what I was getting at when I brought up that, Anthony, because what I wanted to say is that shows that what people see, it takes years of hard work. And fortunately for me, I won't say the word unfortunately, or rather regrettably, I am someone who take periodic breaks from social media. So sometimes I will want an opportunity, but I never know about it because, most opportunities, they're posted in the media. But I'm saying all of that to say I am not always on the media. So I feel like some persons, they're just seeing me, but I've always been doing the work I'm doing now.
There you go.
And that leads into me telling you a little bit about my background, because I have been doing nation building work from ever since I probably was in the 8th grade, which would have made me about 13 thereabout. I was a student counselor. I was a deputy head girl. I moved on to head girl. I was president for about 4 clubs at the same time. So I was very involved in high school life, and then coming over into UWI, you would know, very involved in UWI also, and even now in my professional space. And so I say that because who I am today, Anthony, is because of years of hard work. So it's not just come up, I see this and I want to do it, but I've been doing it from so long ago, right? And I'm also so fortunate to be beside persons like yourself who have also been in the space. Yeah, we have to give you the flowers. So who've also been in the space. So people probably just seeing you through the interviews that you've been doing with, some famous persons. But you've been doing the work from a long time ago.
Thank you,
right?
I appreciate that.
And what we're getting now is just a little fruit from the labor that we've been toiling.
I love that. You see, guys, she's just so, eloquent. Oh, my gosh. So, Sasha, question.
Yes.
The woman that you are today, right? Could that 13-year-old you imagine what you would have grown up to become?
I will say yes. The reason why I say yes, Anthony, is because I've always had this great belief in myself. And again, I'm going to use the word fortunately. Fortunately for me, I grew up in a single-parent household for the most part. My childhood, I wasn't given the best of both worlds at some points. So when I say that, I mean, when I was 13, thereabout, I remember I wasn't living with my mom. I was living with someone in the community, right? I had a lot of issues. So right there and then, it's part a lot of self-esteem issues and, the things that all young girls watching can relate. That at some point in your life, you felt like, you were probably too black or your nose was too big. But fortunately for me, at that age, I always knew that there was something special about me. And so my mother, I feel like that's one of the main reasons why she probably had me staying with someone else and felt maybe not comfortable because you do the best that you can do. And at one point I didn't know that. At one point I believed that, why would she give me to stay with someone? But now I understand that she really just wanted the best for me and she couldn't, have me with her at that particular time. But as I was saying, because me chat enough, right? I was just making the point that even though that happened, I always knew that, I am going to go very far. And again, fortunately for me, nobody had to be in my back to say, Sasha, do this, Sasha, do that, because I've always been that responsible child. And with so many other younger siblings, you can't help but be responsible. So I knew that I would be this Sasha. I just didn't know to the depth of who I would be, but I always knew that I was special. Awesome.
I love that. But where did that come from though? Where did that confidence, that being so headstrong, so goal oriented, where did that come from? Where did that drive come from?
I think the drive came from primary school. So I had a principal, his name is David Bowes. He's still living in my community because I'm from Glengoff, St. Catherine. And I went to Grateful Hill Primary School. And that school is very pivotal in my growth, Anthony, because through going to Grateful Hill, I had a principal. He was very, very strict. And so he would always talk to us and he would always instill that value. Excellence is the fruit of all discipline. So through going to that primary school and even the people I was around and seeing how they were always trying. And might I add, I've always been a late bloomer. So I wasn't the brightest in primary school. As a matter of fact, my mother shared with me couple months ago, she says, Sasha, you know, so when you're little though, you couldn't read. As a matter of fact, mother said, me never like read. She says, when she usually come me for read, I be a ball, me a ball down the place. So I tell people that I've always been a late bloomer. But overall, primary school is what gave me this confidence. From an early stage, my principal, he had us doing, you know, the different leadership roles. So I believe at one point I was a class monitress, if that's what they call them, right? So it came from then.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it's always was instilled in you.
So it
from
was
a very
always
young...
instilled in me from a young age.
Okay.
And as I said, nobody had to be in my back to say, Sasha, do this or do that. Because I just had the vision that, you know, you come from this community and you grow up seeing a certain stereotype and you want to do better for yourself and you want to be that first generation daughter. Of course, at that time, I didn't know those were the big words we're using. But, you know, you want to be the first person to go in your immediate family to go to university, to get a master's, to do this and to do that. So I've always been privileged with that kind of
that mindset,
right?
Okay, and you were the first person in your family to go to university.
In my immediate family.
In your immediate family.
Right.
You know, just being in an environment like that where, you know, you didn't really grow up and seeing like people in your immediate family, you know, going to college, like probably like going to school actively like that.
Right.
You ever had moments where like, damn, like, am I worth anything more than what is around me? Like, am I greater than my surroundings? Have you ever had moments like that?
Yes, I've actually had moments like that. Quite a few of those moments, actually, Anthony. And I really love this question because now you're jogging my memory a bit. Because when as I was telling you, my mother, at one point I was living with someone in the community. She wasn't family. She was a church family member, but you know, we said church family.
Church family. Yeah.
I've also, you know, I was staying with my godmom at one time. I was living with her. I was also living with my grandfather at one point. So throughout those different points and those different transitions, I remember I've always questioned my worth because I was saying to myself, okay, I still want to make my mother proud because I don't understand in depth what is happening with her, but I do still understand. But I've always had this feeling inside where I wanted to prove to her that, you know, I'm going to do good, I'm going to do well, but still you're still battling with that self-worth because you're wondering what is happening. And I didn't share, a lot of persons don't know this because I've never really spoken about my story out with the public. But I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't know my dad. So even around those times I was battling with that issue. I was wondering, why did he leave? You know, if you're living abroad, why is it that you decided not to take care of me? I'm a really good child, I'm doing well, so why is it that you wouldn't want to be in my life? So I've battled the self-worth issues, the self-esteem issues, and with every issue, they're all coming from somewhere. And for me, a lot of those issues were rooted in the absence of my father and also in not living with my mother at one point.
Yeah, I mean, that really touched me still, though, because, like, you know, because you need your parents, like, as much as how people like to be like, you know, oh, you know, you need your parents in your life.
Your parents,
you really need, and just to hear that, you know, you were growing up and you didn't really have them in your life, but then you're able to just be the woman you are today. Like, look at you, big up, hey, big up yourself, you know. You see how my friend nice and clean. Hey, ciao.
So, and I also want to just make this point that even though my mother wasn't there physically at one point, meaning I wasn't living with her, you know, she still showed up. So I also want to put that in there because what we'll understand is that our parents, they're doing life for the first time. And being the age I am now, you know, 30, I don't mind saying my age because I believe I look younger the older I get. So, you know, as you get older, Anthony, you give your parents grace because you realize, especially my mom.
That's true.
Right? I give her grace because I understand that, listen, she was just doing the best that she could at the time.
Yeah.
And now our relationship is it's beautiful,
gotten
and
better.
we've understand, whatever happened, and we know that, okay, it wasn't to harm me, but it was because at the time she didn't have the physical things that she needed,
Yeah.
factors to help me, so she gave me to someone else who could do
Who
it.
couldn't
Unfortunately
manage that.
for me, those are persons who did not harm me, but persons who were actually saw it fitting to say, okay, her mother can't do this at this point, but I'm going to make sure I do it. And so I'm grateful for all those persons
Yeah.
if they do come across this interview.
I'm not gonna lie, Sasha, like that is, I don't think I understand like how powerful those words that you just said a while ago. Like it's just so beautiful, you know what I mean? As in,
Yes.
I feel like a lot of times, when we grow up, we recall like our childhood, and we think about, we have like so much resentment, so much
Yes.
hostility.
Yes.
And I think it's really crucial for us sometimes to be able to just kind of look back and just forgive, you know what I mean? I just feel like life is just too short for us, have this bag of grudges and this resentment. Like them something take a toll upon you,
Right, and that's where
Yeah.
even seeing a therapist comes in, because I've had to do a lot of
Question,
work.
do you believe in therapy?
I do.
You do believe in therapy?
I do.
All right.
I'm actually one of the, the beneficiaries of going and seeing a therapist. Because remember, Anthony, you have to undo and relearn and learn so many things. We're not perfect. And I often realize that as human beings overall, we feel as if we're so perfect sometimes. So we spend a lot of time pointing the finger. And while I know there are people who do cause
Not me
us
though, I'm
hurt,
perfect.
Anthony. But while I know that there are people who do cause us harm, there are people who will do things and it will hurt, and it may hurt for a long time. We also have things that we have to work on. And sometimes seeing a professional, just like how you did see me the time, seeing a professional.
Scripted, I was scripted, guys.
Seeing a professional, it really helps,
That's
because
true.
I've unlearned a lot of things that I had, I was struggling with, and I have now been relearning a lot of things that I thought was right. Over time you realize they're not. And one thing I always tell people too, Anthony, that it's okay to change your mind. Who you were yesterday, you don't have to wake up as that person tomorrow. I say that to say we're evolving, we're human beings, we're always changing. And don't feel bad that the thing that you wanted yesterday, if you wake up today and you don't want it anymore, don't feel bad about it. That's what we're humans. We're literally meant to change and to bloom and to evolve.
Yeah, I agree. But like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, especially in like the Jamaican community, like therapy is just like, me no need therapy. God cures all. Me need to go church. I got your need. What do you think about people that have this kind of like, they're so hesitant to embrace therapy or any kind of mental health treatments?
Okay, so I'm a Christian. I actively go to church. As a matter of fact, I went to church this morning. So I'm an avid believer in going to church and forming a relationship with God. That's my belief, right? But I believe that we have to promote persons seeing a professional more often. Because remember, if I go to school to become a psychologist, right? God has given me that ability to become a psychologist, and you can mix the power of God with the power of getting professional help. So we have to know we have to know the balance. So when I say balance, we know when to pray and we know when to talk to someone, right? Because praying alone won't fix it. The Bible literally tells us that faith without works is dead, right? So coupled with praying, you have to get the help that you need, because going to church on a Sunday and tarrying at the altar alone will not fix the issues that we have. And it is
word.
When you look at the Jamaican environment right now, we have so many issues. We look in our schools and we see the issue of bullying. It has always been there, but we see the resurgence and we see so many issues or adults. I was telling someone the other day that Jamaicans, we have a conflict resolution issue. A lot of us, we have traumas that we're not dealing with, and unfortunately it gets filtered over into the public spaces, and so we don't know how to properly resolve a conflict. I go in KFC right now and I'm ordering a 3-piece chicken, and the cashier probably give me a little bit of attitude. Me I give her bad attitude when you're looking at a big fight broke out in Anthony, and that could have gone completely different. She gave me the attitude and I could just, not pay it any mind. But
True.
we're walking around with so many
Like
issues.
chips on our shoulders,
right.
like,
So
yeah.
many anger, so much sadness. And so as you touch somebody,
Where brush me for?
yeah. So we have the issues to work on. And as I said, the church is good, but seeing a therapist is also good. And I believe we have to know as a country how to strike that balance, because the both of them can coexist rather.
All right, Sasha, nobody think you get away, you know?
I'm not get
You not get wet. I have a game for you. Would you rather? All right,
Okay.
so I can throw some would you rather questions on you.
Spicy.
Yeah, man, spicy. Anyways, yeah. So I can throw some questions at you, and then you're gonna pick which one you would rather do. All right.
No problem.
All right. So the first one, would you rather know how you die, or when you die?
That's a good one. How or when? I'd rather know how, because if I know when, I'm gonna live in a constant anxiety. But if I know how, I will know how, but I won't know when. So I won't have to spend my lasting days say, okay, I die tomorrow. So, oh my God, let me do all these things off the bucket list. But at least if I know how, I can just, still look a little bit anxious, but I'd be living, not knowing when.
Boy,
That makes sense?
me have to disagree with that, man. Me prefer to know when me are dead.
When?
Cause if them tell me say you're dead when you're 80, cool, me just live my life till me are 80 and just know me drop out them. Suppose them tell you say you're dead because you go on a plane
And
crash.
you take the plane
I'm
tomorrow,
gonna take the
you
plane and me
wonder
I wonder,
one day.
Jesus, I wonder if I might time this.
Yeah.
Or if my girl them say me I dead in a one car crash, me say, Jesus, I wonder if me I step in another Uber, I wonder if I might life this
Right.
gone,
Yeah,
you know?
okay, I get you.
Yeah, but I
You
would
have a
that at
point,
all.
you have a point.
Alright. Would you rather your partner cheat on you or your best friend betray you?
I would rather my partner cheats on me.
Hey, bun hot, you know?
Bun hot, but I believe that sisterhood means so much to me. And that is so controversial. The question, yeah, but it's a good question, It is such a good question. Let me think about it. Because then if I say I would rather someone cheat on me, then I am telling that I'm okay with cheating.
No, not necessarily that, but
No?
you just a pick. It's like you just a pick the lesser of two evils. Which one you can deal with the most? I don't like necessarily you gotta deal with it in your real life. It's just say, all right, cool, I prefer take bun than my friend stab me in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Say another question.
Oh wow, I don't know how to answer that one.
All right. Would you rather lose your phone forever, or have all your messages exposed publicly?
I would rather lose my phone forever.
Away in your phone,
no.
so. Away in your phone, so.
No, I say that because, they always say that you don't want to go into your friend's group chat. That's where everything is. And when I say everything, I don't mean that, deep, dark secrets. But, it's your personal conversations. Your friend telling you something, you telling her something. You don't want them things to get out. What would you prefer? What would you prefer?
I would prefer to just lose my phone.
Right. So
Yeah, but
when are your phone, so?
We're not talking about me. Are you
Alright,
are the guest, not
Okay,
me.
but yes, I'd rather lose my phone forever. I'd rather lose my phone forever.
All right. Would you rather be rich with no taste or broke with expensive taste?
Rich with no taste. Me not nobody for impress.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you
No
go.
taste.
There you go. All right. Would you rather everyone laugh behind your back or pity you to your face?
Laugh behind my back.
Okay, you're not care.
I don't care. People do it anyways, so.
All right. Would you rather be broke but genuinely happy or rich and secretly miserable?
Broke but genuinely happy. Because I say that, and I'm not saying it in a performative way. Right now in my life, I'm not rich, but I'm happy. right? So I would rather live this way than to be rich and miserable. Nobody, me miserable, you know. But
You're miserable for true?
yeah, I'm overall a miserable person.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never gotten that vibe from you.
That is why I'm an introvert. but think about it. You being rich, and you know when people rich and miserable, and different kind of miserableness. That my miserableness is just me. Sometimes I just want my alone space. So you probably talk to me and I say, "Sure, me can't bother Anthony." But when you're rich and miserable, that the miserable come with all of the pressures with being
True.
rich. Everybody a call you. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm not rich. I'm not gonna speak no brokenness over my life, but I'm not rich, but I'm happy. So I will work with
There
this,
you go,
right?
there you go. Would you rather be successful and everyone assumes you slept your way there, or struggle and be respected?
I'd rather be successful and everyone thinks I sleep my way there. I say that because it stinks. What you think of me has nothing to do with me.
There
Because
you go.
whether or not you are doing well or you're doing bad, people will have their preconceived notion of you. There's somebody watching this interview who will say, okay, she comes off as this kind of person, or she comes off as that kind of person. I can't please everybody. So I'd rather be successful than you think what you want to think of me.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather be the least attractive in your friend group or the poorest?
The least attractive.
We said no broke girl
No,
business here. No broke girl business
And
here.
again, least attractive to who? Because you might think I'm least attractive, but somebody else thinks I'm attractive. Because you might see somebody else say them no look good, but to the eyes, in other people's eyes, they're okay. So, and again, it doesn't matter to me.
All right, makes
Yeah.
sense, makes sense. All right, guys. Well, that was the podcast episode. I really enjoyed talking with you, Sasha. Like, I think a lot of the dialogue was very like insightful and very, meaningful. And I really do think that the viewers will definitely benefit greatly from it. But before we go, do you have any? Sorry, not questions. I'm telling me about questions. But before we go, do you have anything you want to say to the viewers?
Well, sure. What I'll say, and thank you for having me also, I want to say publicly, just as I would tell you off
you.
air, that you're doing an amazing job. You've always been doing the work, and I hope you'll continue. And I hope this avenue will bring to you all the goodness and the opportunities that you need to push you a little bit further into the space, because we're all trying, right? And with that, I will say one thing I will leave with the viewers is be your most authentic self. I'm always saying that because I'm a stickler for being you. Whether or not you're being you or you're not being you, people are always going to have an issue. And I will encourage you to be you. You can be anything in this world, and imagine trying to be like someone else. I'll go a little bit further to say that don't try to be like anybody else, but be the best version of yourself. And that's what I get up and do every day, and that's what I want for all of us to do. And I'll also say, we're in a space and we're trying to do something, everybody can thrive in that space. So Anthony, what I'm saying is that you're a podcaster and you have many other podcasters out there. And I think sometimes the kind of mentality we have is that, okay, this space is just for me and it's for me alone. But we all can thrive in the space. We have to look out for each other. We have to be there for each other and just open up the door for somebody else, because we had somebody opening up the door for us. Right? So thank you again.
You didn't mention your initiative. Like, I really wanted you guys to hear more about her initiative. Can you tell us about that, like, real quickly?
Yeah, sure. So I have an initiative, the NIA Foundation initiative. It started while I was here at UA in 2019. That was a small way for me to gift families during Christmas. Last year, we had an official launch in the community of Glengough, where we had a health fair, and it was amazing. I had the support of my immediate circle and people in the community, and this August 22nd, we're having the second staging, which will also be a health fair, but we've also added the mental health aspect and education aspect just as a back to school option for our children. So it will benefit the entire community. Right now we're in the planning stage. We've gotten some corporate sponsors already on board. So we have Heart NSTA Trust. I have Jamaica Cancer Society. So we've had, some returning sponsors. We had those sponsors was last year also. So you'll definitely be hearing more about that. So you can follow the page on social media, the NIA Foundation, where we will unfold other greatness and other partnerships, because I've also partnered with Giving JA. That's a team of medical doctors. As I said, it's a group of us, and it's me depending on someone else, and them, leaning on me, because we have to do it together. We can't do it
There you
alone.
go.
So that's the initiative in a nutshell.
All right, I love it. And like for the viewers, if they want to follow you and just kind of get updated on you and what you're doing, how can they reach out or so?
They can follow me on social media. So it's Sasha Speaks JA. I don't. I just post like my speaking engagements and those are the things. But if they want to follow me, sure, no problem.
All right,
Me no influencer, me just.
I mean, but
twiddle
sure,
the
but
dee,
I'm sure they probably want to like see what you're up to,
Yeah,
or maybe
man,
like can
definitely.
reach out to you for like any advice or whatever.
Well, sure. So they can
Alright.
send me a DM from the social media, and they can even send me an email, sashaspeaksja@gmail.com.
And I'll put it all in the description, guys. All right, well, Sasha, thank you so much for joining me for today's podcast. I really do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
All right,
Anthony.
guys. And guys, make sure before we close it off, make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. All right. And to all my streamers on Apple and Spotify, I see you, man. I see you, man. Una up the thing, Una up the thing. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys leave a review. All right, and make sure you guys have shared the podcast as well. All right, this is Anthony Tracey, and I'm signing out. Bye.